And hello, membership champions. I'm broadcasting today from the beautiful Puerto Rico, where I've been attending an excellent membership seminar with District Governor Maria del Carmen and District Membership Chair DGN Luz. So for those of you who are joining the Membership Action Plan webinar for the first time, a big welcome to you. And for those of you who are returning to the MAP webinar sessions, welcome back. It's great to have you here. We're excited you joined us because it means you want to see your Rotary Club grow, or your district, or both. And as we know, your clubs are the only places that we will ever see growth, because Rotary only really happens within our clubs. It's the one place we can create irresistible club experiences for our members by living Rotary International Strategic Action Plan. And living our Strategic Action Plan through MAP, we can enhance our participants' engagement by creating better clubs. We can expand our reach into our communities and create new pathways for a wider and more diverse membership in our clubs. We can adapt by creating innovative new membership types and club types as we increase our impact in our communities. And as our members' lives grow more, we will be able to do more. So let's be clear. The primary job of Rotary International President Gordon, General Secretary John, the Board of Directors, including myself, our zone regional leaders, our district leadership, and our MAP team is quite simply to support and strengthen your clubs. And that is what MAP's all about, providing you with support, the resources, and the opportunity to do just that. But it's in your hands to make it happen. The vision of the Membership Action Plan team is to establish membership growth as the catalyst to fulfill Rotary International's vision, where, as we know, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and probably most importantly, in ourselves. This realization comes from the fact that while some clubs are succeeding with membership growth, many clubs needed a plan they could easily follow, that was immediately actionable and backed by real-time data. Our Membership Action Plan, or MAP as we call it, offers a multi-year, data-driven, step-by-step plan to help our clubs achieve consistent, moderate membership growth. That's the Holy Grail. It relies upon building continuity between your district and club leadership lines. It can only be successful if we accept that attrition is real. And whilst we need to engage our existing members far better, we will only grow Rotary if we continue to attract new members. We know that by growing your clubs, you will create lasting change in your communities. And these monthly MAP sessions will provide fundamental techniques to help all of our clubs recharge and go from strength to strength and build momentum. Please note, however, that whilst these methods are proven to work, they're not intended to replace successful processes or plans that you already have in your club. Keep doing those great things. We want to hear from you what's working along the way, and find ways to allow you to share and brag about your successes. And today you're going to hear about tried and tested strategies to achieve success in membership growth in our clubs, using successful recipes, combining club growth plans, the excellent tools in our Membership Success Center, and tips and best practices set out in these webinars. So let's get on with the show. And first on is Zone 34 Rotary Coordinator, Mike Darragh, who will start tonight's program. Mike, over to you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Tonight, we're going to hear from two club presidents who have worked to build strong clubs over the past 3 to 4 years. We've broken up the presentation into 4 parts, following our one-page Rotary Club Growth Plan. Every club's unique, but each club has to find a way to create value for their existing members and to attract and engage new members. Your club might find a way to stumble across success, and a few clubs do, but most clubs need a plan, a way to pull all those members in the same direction, using techniques that have been time-tested, like Jeremy talked about. You can see our recommended one-page plan on the screen. It works. We're inserting a copy of this template in the chat, and you can always find a copy on the RI Zone 33-34 website. Just search for plan. But before we get to our speakers, I have First, a word of warning. If you think you can do all this by yourself, think again. A successful membership effort engages as many members as possible. There are 4 pillars to this plan, and each one requires different people to make it happen. What's more, it takes 2 to 3 years to develop a plan into a club culture. So you need team members to commit to a multi-year effort. When you hear Nancy and Philip talk tonight, you'll realize they didn't do this on their own. As you hear them describe what they did with their club, think of the members in your club that you can engage to make the club irresistible. Identify prospects, attract those prospects to become members, and then onboard them so your new members are engaged in something they're passionate about. So let me introduce our first presenter, Nancy Prochaska, president of the North Cobb Rotary Club, is just north of Atlanta. About 4 years ago, they had about 40 members. Over the last 4 years, they've steadily built their club to 93 members. That's right, 93. Nancy, can you tell us how you all built your club into an irresistible club?
Yes, I can. Thank you so much, Mike. Well, you know, the formula is what I would call simple, but it's not easy. You know, there are some simple, specific things that you need to do if you'd like to grow your membership, but they require real effort. So it's not easy. And like Mike said, it's going to require many members working together to make this happen. What we've established is that it's important that there be really demonstrated care and respect for the members. And we demonstrate that when people enter the building and we greet them and everyone greets them so that they recognize that they're needed and wanted and valued. We try to address people the way we would want to be addressed. And every member is responsible for that, but particularly the board members. And we remind the board members to be sure and greet the other members and particularly the potential new members. Now, this requires a lot of effort and energy, but it's well worth it and it really pays off. And obviously we want to increase our membership so that we can increase the impact that we have on the community. And we want to have more members so there are more service opportunities so we can create a better impact. Beyond the greeting, we want to give every person who attends the meeting an excellent experience. And that would be in the meetings and the socials and the service opportunities. So what I'm talking about is that this is relational rather than transactional. We want to, of course, we start with great food. We meet at 7 o'clock in the morning on Thursdays for breakfast, and the food is great and people want to come for the food. But beyond that, we make sure that everybody that enters our doors is welcomed and valued and that they're going to have fun. We start promptly on time because that builds trust, and we finish promptly on time because we recognize that they need to go on with their business day and they need to realize that we are valuing them. I create a written time plan for every meeting with timestamps. So I know who's going to say what, when. Of course, there's some things that come in between, but I try to keep it very, very tight. And therefore, it's very smooth. It's very well organized. And people appreciate that because they recognize that there's been some effort put into it. But once you put that effort in and get accustomed to doing it, you'll find that it's pretty easy to do. And I will tell you that the really secret sauce of a very irresistible meeting and an irresistible club is fun, just fun. Coming up with fresh, new, dare I say, entertaining meetings requires some real effort on your part. It requires some creativity and some imagination. I will tell you that last week, I read a poem about Rotary. The week before, we sang a song. At Halloween, several of us dress up as witches. A couple of months ago, Karnak the Magnificent showed up at our club. You might remember Karnak from the Johnny Carson days. So he predicted some things that were going to happen at North Cobb Rotary, and our membership loved it. So the idea here is to come up with new and interesting things so that your members don't want to miss, because they don't want to miss out, and because it's always fun and they get a good feeling about it. We make sure that every service event is also equally orchestrated, if I dare say. We provide service opportunities for a variety of days, Monday through Sunday, times, morning, noon, and night. Some are appropriate for the whole family, including children and grandchildren. Some are really just for adults. We have regular service opportunities. That is to say, every month we do a food distribution. Every month we feed supper to a facility that houses people in recovery. But we also do a number of service events that sort of pop up. Some of them we do during the meetings. Next week, we're going to do a can assembly for a food pantry at our local university. Last week, we did an assembly of mobility items. They were crutches and walkers and canes and whatnot that a Rotarian and a nearby club was gathering and sending to Africa, because he had done some work in Africa there with his Rotary work. So we offer a lot of service opportunities, and our members love that because they all have servants' hearts. That's why they came to Rotary. We do what members want. So if a member comes up and says that they'd like to do a particular service event, that's what we do. But they become the champion of that. Every service event has a champion, and that champion is responsible for promoting it, giving us all of the information, and we put it out on Sign Up Genius. So everybody knows what time to arrive, how long we're going to be there, what the address is, what tools we need to bring. Do we need to bring gloves, hose, whatever, and how many we need? Because we respect people so much, the Sign Up Genius tells us if we need 5 people or 10 people, or if we need 40 people, right? So we make sure that we never disrespect our members' times, and that champion makes sure that all of the supplies are ready and the instructions are ready. And at those service events, we make sure that everybody is welcome. So many of our members will bring their partners or their children or grandchildren, and we make a point of going out and welcoming every one of them and learning their names and chatting with them, because they are welcome. They're part of our Rotary family. And so that's the answer to the first question, Mike, and I take it back to you. But that is how North Cobb Rotary has built what I believe to be an irresistible club.
Thanks, Nancy. Those are some great ideas. I love that you've got everybody welcoming all sorts of people, and that you're doing a number of other things to have a great meeting. And you're also making certain that your service projects are really meaningful. So going to the next key success factor in a club membership plan, it's about identifying potential members. In business, we'd call that lead generation. And it's mission critical, since the most common reason for club decline is not enough prospects. Here to share some strategies for prospect identifications, Philip Brown. He's the immediate past president of the very successful Mount Airy, North Carolina Club. Philip?
Thank you, Mike. It certainly takes a village, as Nancy implied. Welcome, everyone. It's great to be here with you all. I bring greetings from Mount Airy, North Carolina. Many of you know our little town as the home of Andy Griffith, and commonly called Mayberry. The TV show was based on our little town. That's important to our story as it frames the context of how Rotary has grown. Our club has a 75-year reputation of being deeply rooted in community service. There are 3 options to join Rotary in our town. We have a morning option with Surrey Sunrise, a lunchtime option from where I come, and a new evening option as a satellite club. It's important to meet people where they are. Everyone knows someone who would make a great Rotarian. A big lesson here, I think, is to name the potential Rotarians and actively recruit them. I suspect if I were to poll many of you, you would say that you were asked by someone you trust to join. Our growth over the past few years has come from a targeted approach to prospecting. Our leadership named an unrepresented or underrepresented population in our club: fire, police, EMS, and teachers, all public servants. We developed a list of people we know who hold the same values as Rotary. We used a Google Sheet, but you can also use DACDB or other ways to organize your leads. Leadership held one-on-one meetings with the heads of the various groups and recruited directly from those areas. What we found was our biggest population came from the educators. As you can imagine, many educators have a natural heart for service. One population that surprised us was how interested our international teachers were to join. They aren't from around here, as they would say in Mayberry. They were looking for a place to do good and network in the community. Through this process, we added over 20 new members ranging from 19 years old to 78, speaking 3 languages, where half of the club is bilingual, and equal spread of men and women. One question we had to answer from the beginning was, why Rotary? They could easily organize themselves without Rotary. Our leadership explained to each member that Rotary has a framework and a network that opens doors, multiplies efforts, and gives credibility. And that holds us accountable to good in the world. The last thing I'll say here is that it's important to make this a two-way street. Finding the right fit is critical. Being overly selling or persuasive is not a good thing. Truth and fairness runs deep within our organization. I think it's important to be honest and real. Undersell and overdeliver is always a great policy. And when you overdeliver with all the good things, it's contagious. Members will bring their friends. It's a natural growth process when the formula is right.
Thanks, Philip. That idea of targeting your prospecting and identifying underrepresented demographics and businesses, those are great ideas. And it's much more effective than just standing at the pulpit and saying, bring somebody to Rotary. But now let's talk about the next one, Philip. A key success factor for a lot of clubs is attracting these prospects to your club and presenting Rotary in a compelling fashion, like showcasing the irresistibility of your club. Philip, can you share with us how you've gone about doing that? Because it sounded like a pretty successful way that's been used in a number of clubs.
Absolutely. The first lesson I think is important is that reputation and leadership matters. When attracting new members, it's important for them to know what they are doing is for all the right reasons. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a 75-year reputation, and it helps make it possible for growth in our small community. Once your leads are generated and you've organized them, etc., you call them and invite them personally. You explain the good work, and it's time to finalize that relationship somewhat. We hold Discovery Rotary 4 times per year, unless we have a group that we need to have a special event for in between the scheduled Discovery Rotary times. Those are on the calendar well in advance. During those meetings, we've done face-to-face and virtual. We explain what Rotary is. We try to get to know the prospective members and their willingness to serve. We work on presenting the organizational structure and dues and the logistics and all those things that we do, but we also really focus in on options for engagement in meetings. And we make sure they understand that we have a morning option, a noon option, an evening option. Even though there's some good competition with Surrey Sunrise, we just want them to join Rotary, whether it's in our club or the Satellite Club or in the Sunrise Club. We have options that range from a relaxed local brewery to a more formal country club. We make sure that they understand that we have dues that are affordable, for example, a service member, or dues that include an active membership and lunches. So it's important to have that menu of options so that everyone feels like there's an entry point for them. But during Discovery Rotary, we spend more time on our purpose and opportunities to serve. They hear about the efforts with the youth service. We have 5 Interact clubs that we sponsor, or our Youth Peace Conference, and on and on. They hear about the local battle with opioid addiction here in Surrey County and the efforts that we are spearheading to turn that around. They hear about the environmental excursions, which is cleaning up trash in our community. We discussed the fundraising and the 13 agencies we help to fund each year and the scholarships that we give. So we spend a lot of time focusing on all the good things. And I'm a believer that if you make your product so good that folks are asking how they can be a part of it, they will come. And so they ask, how can I make a difference? And I think it's also a little known fact that when there's a winning team, people want to be a part of it, and success breeds success. So all of those things kind of wrapped up together, we have tremendous growth in membership.
Thanks, Philip. I like that idea of the Rotary Information Hour. Doing it 4 times a year or as many times as you need it. It's been successful, like I said before, for hundreds of clubs. Members know when they're coming up and they can line up prospects well in advance. So I'm going to turn back to Nancy for the 4th key factor in a club membership plan, and it's effectively onboarding and getting a great new member orientation. Nancy's club's done that particularly well. So Nancy, could you share your strategies for onboarding and engaging the new members in your club right away after they join?
Yes, thank you, Mike. I'd be happy to. In fact, our next new member orientation is coming up this coming week. We do it as often as is necessary, certainly 4 times a year, or 5 or 6. We do this orientation at one of the members' homes. And first we have a happy hour, and then we have a supper, because like I said a little bit ago, good food is really important to all of these meetings. And then we have an outline of material that we'd like these new members to know. So during this encounter, they've had an opportunity to break bread and make friends with other new members. All of their partners are welcome to also attend. We recognize that Rotary takes new members time and money, and therefore it's important that their spouses or partners buy in and recognize the value of this. So we invite them to come as well and break bread with us and hear about what Rotary is. We have, like I say, an outline. There's, we go through the history, we go through what the expectations are for North Cobb Rotary. And we have actually a document that's called News for New Members that outlines, how to apply for a grant, how to get into all of those websites, all of how to sign up for Sign Up Genius so that you can do service, all of those things that offer them sort of the recipe, if you will, for how to become successful with us. And then during this onboarding process, during the orientation, but also in the early weeks of their membership, we help them understand our expectations. And our expectations are really just that they lean in, right? They don't have to come to every meeting or every service event or every social, but we want them to lean in and attend what they can and contribute their ideas and their talents and their skills, because those hands are important. And that's why we are so happy that they're with us. And then we give them opportunities to build relationships beyond the meetings through our social events. Remember, we are a membership organization and our product is service. And so this relationship is so important. This membership is so important. So we ask every new member to be a greeter at our badge table. So a member will come in and approach the new member and tell them what their name is, introduce themselves. And so the person has heard their name, and then they go to the badge box and find their name. Now they've seen their name. So hearing it and seeing it helps them remember their name. And hopefully the long-term member will be able to remember this new member's name. The new member, of course, is learning a lot of names simultaneously. But that's an extremely good method of our new members learning the names of our long-term members. And then we have lots and lots of, short-term, quick social things where people can get together. A couple of our members are hosting a luncheon for new members, and they're asking everyone who attends that luncheon to bring a used item from their home. And then we're going to donate those used items to a secondhand shop whose proceeds support a recovery center that we are very involved with. And we have just tomorrow night, we have something called New Meets Long Term, and it's going to be a happy hour where one of our members, who is a social facilitator, is going to help us ask some questions where we will answer questions and share personal information with one another and get better acquainted. And that'll be, a deep, important experience. We have a local university, and so we've got an upcoming volleyball game where we'll all go if they'd like, and a football game where we'll all go and tailgate before. All of this is an opportunity to socialize and build relationships. So I just think that's critical to let people get acquainted and learn one another's names, but then to get to know personally with one another. That's very important for the onboarding experience. So that's my thought, Mike. What do you think?
I think that's some really good stuff. And I'm going to just sum up, because it's easy to forget we were talking about 4 parts, but that first part, becoming that irresistible, fun club. And it's intentional, the things you talked about, Nancy, the club experience, making that great. And then the whole idea of welcoming that care and respect for members. And then Philip talking about identifying prospects. You got to have a team that helps do that. We don't just want to say, go get people, especially in front of a crowd that has visitors already. We want to target those underrepresented groups and network with them. The third thing, attracting members that discover Rotary sessions so the person knows what they're getting into and hears the neat things that they can get involved with. And finally, just like Nancy said, onboarding those members so they've got a great orientation, they're clear expectations, they know how to plug in, and you help them build those relationships, just like learning the names. But remember, all of y'all on the call, you need a number of folks. If you want to call it a committee or committees, they need to drive these changes. You'll also need to make sure that all your future leaders buy into the plan at the start. And it's good to have the key committee members serve 2 to 3 years so you have continuity. That makes sure that these changes get baked in to the culture of the club. So I imagine you all have questions for the presenters tonight. So I turn this over to my friend and our Zone 34 Rotary Foundation Coordinator, Sandra Hempstead. She'll lead the Q&A. Sandra?
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much, Nancy and Philip. You do have some great ideas for your club. I'm really excited to try them in my own club. So I do have some questions that have come in as you've been talking. Nancy, first for you, you mentioned doing a lot of service projects, but then you also mentioned something called Sign Up Genius. Can you explain what that is and how you use it?
Oh, yes, that's an application. That's you go online and just type in Sign Up Genius and it'll pop up, and it's free. But if you use it as a free method of signing people up, there will be advertisements that pop up around it. Or if you want to give $22 a month, then the ads are all gone. But you have to populate it with the addresses of all of your members. So when you add new members, it's important that you add the new members' email addresses into that, right? So you've set it up initially. Every new member's got to be added in. But we have a person who creates the Sign Up Genius, and it's very easy. There are hundreds of backgrounds and all that, and you just type in that we're going to do, a food distribution at this location at this time, and we need 30 people. Mm-hmm. And so this is how it is, and people will populate it. And when you hit 30, then we're done. So we don't end up with 60 people, because then people are just standing around and people don't like that, right? So that's what Sign Up Genius, just Google Sign Up Genius.
Genius. Okay, thank you very much. And Philip, you mentioned something about finding the underrepresented or unrepresented people to join your club, and you talked about groups of people. How did you identify who to contact and make that initial contact with those groups?
That's a great question. So really, it started by just looking around and taking a survey of who you have in your club. And it was I guess a year and a half ago at this point, we were at Myrtle Beach at our district conference, and we were sitting around the fire at the evening, and someone said, you know, I really think we need to expand our reach. There's some groups, populations that we're not really engaging. And one of our members is a fireman, and he also works with transportation. And he said, you know, I love Rotary, but the country club and lunch crew is they're not my people. And so that served as a bit of a catalyst to say, well, who are the people we're missing here, and how can we get them involved? And so we just looked around and said, you know, it's the public service, it's the people who are working in the daytime, and let's see if we can't engage them in the evening. So that's where they come.
Okay, that's great. So I think Nancy might have been the person that mentioned, I wrote it down, news for new members. What is that? And is that different than the orientation? Is it before they join, after they join?
It's after they join, but it is a document that actually I created when I joined. And there are so many things that people just don't know, right? You know, now that we're all in Rotary, we know we know how to log into my.rotary, and we know how to get into District 6900. But if you're new, you don't know that. So I just wrote down all of those things, you know, the address for Russell Hampton. So if you want to get a t-shirt or a pin that's different, how do you do that? Well, we put it in there. You know, how to apply for a grant, how to, you know, on and on and on. You know, there's so many things. But anyway, we just made a laundry list, if you will. You know, it's not very sophisticated, but the idea was all of the things that people probably wish they knew, that you and I
kind of willing to share that with the group?
I'd be happy to.
Okay, I think that would be helpful.
Okay,
I'd like to know
I'll have
what's
to
on
find
that
it on
list.
I have to find it on my computer and send it, and you'll have to tell me later where I can send it to you, and then you can
Okay,
just,
sure, we'll do that. We'll
Okay.
do that. So I also wanted to ask specifically about the timing of meetings and the people. Philip, you mentioned adding a lot of educators to your club. Educators have specific times that they have to be at work. What do you do to facilitate them joining your club if your club occurs during their workday?
Or so we started a satellite, and it's in the evening at a local brewery, which in the beginning was a little bit of a, you know, do we meet at a brewery? Do we not meet at a brewery? Where there's a lot of teachers involved, but I mean, they like to drink like the rest of us. Just kidding. But no, the brewery is owned by a Rotarian, and next to the brewery is a large meeting room. And so he was able to give us a meeting room that's attached to the brewery, but it's not necessarily in the brewery. So that was a nice compromise. But just meeting them where they are. It's downtown Mount Airy. So lots of activity, it's just a fun place to go. And then, you know, the timing of it all in the evening.
That sounds great. And I know, Nancy, you mentioned something about varying the times also for opportunities within your club, but it sounds like you might have done something a little different. Can you describe what your club does to vary the times for opportunities for your Rotarians?
Well, you know what, we're open. So as our Rotarian members come up with ideas of things that they want to do, ordinarily the answer is yes. So whatever it is they come up with. Now, you know, there was a time that we were very particular, that we just did the same thing over and over. And so that was a Sunday afternoon, that was a Thursday night, whatever. But now, because we have so many members and because we're very invitational on what we're invited to do. And so, you know, we did a cleanup of a middle school garden, a memorial garden, and we did that on a Tuesday. And then the following week on Wednesday, we came back and painted. So the people that could come on Tuesday couldn't come on Wednesday, right? You know, so we try to just, first and foremost, we try to honor the ideas of our members. So if somebody has a need that they know of in the community and they'd like Rotary to lean in on doing it, then the answer is yes. And that ends up spreading all across. But we also try to deliberately look for times that can include children and grandchildren, right? Spouses are always invited. Adults are always welcome. But those things that children and grandchildren, our people love that.
Yeah.
Many of our members are already employed all day and they're away from their kids. So they want to be with their kids, but they also want to teach their kids about the values that they are living in Rotary. So we come up with opportunities for the kids to help too, as much as we can. As an example, we play baseball usually about 4 times a year with a special needs baseball league. And so each special needs athlete is out on the field, and there's a Rotarian or one of us with them, helping them field the ball and finding it. And everybody loves it. The special needs people love it. Their parents love it. Our children love it. We love it. It's so much fun.
Sounds like it. It sounds like it. I wish I lived a little closer to join your baseball game.
Come on.
Philip, I have another question for you. And the question is, are the dues different for different members depending on whether they're in your satellite or in your main club?
Thanks, Sandra. Yeah, they do. They are different. So it depends on your membership type, satellite and active or service membership or corporate. We have a different structure for each of those. So yes, they are different. And, you know, depending on whether or not a meal is included.
That was going to be part 2. Is it different because of the meal, or is it different in the dues structure itself?
Both. And
okay.
We worked through a committee when launching the satellite to set that up so it would be affordable for the service members and for satellite members, specifically service-oriented workers like firefighters and police and teachers.
Okay. I do have another question for you that just came in. Can you tell us a little bit more about Discover Rotary? And I think we have someone who would like to get a copy of it or learn more about it and follow up to the call today too.
Sure. As far as the presentation goes, I don't think it's anything special. I think it's mostly just having it set ahead of schedule and making sure that you're inviting people who kind of fit the mold, knowing your community. Like I said, we have 75-year reputation. We live in Mount Airy. We literally live in Mayberry. So we know everybody. And there are 3 opportunities for Rotary. So we've got a really great presence here in Surrey County. And so just knowing that and then identifying prospecting really well so that when they come, it's more of a conversation. You're just talking to them like a friend. You're working through the different ideas of what Rotary is and then what it means to be a Rotarian. And then, you know, it kind of sells itself.
That's great. Thank you. And I did just get a note that we will have the Discover Rotary information in follow-up in an email tomorrow. I want to thank both of you for being on the call today and for answering so many questions. You really did give an excellent amount of information. Thank you. And now I'm going to pass it over to Jeremy.
Thank you, Sandra, for moderating our questions, and of course to our panelists, Nancy and Philip, and Mike as well, for some great answers and ideas tonight. And now on to our rewards and awards program. I think I can hear the drums rolling in the background there. So first, I want to cover the awards for the year just past, but because the final figures are still coming in, I won't identify tonight those receiving awards, but I am delighted to note that it looks as if an outstanding 13 of our 31 districts, as well as a significant number of our clubs, appear to have succeeded in not only participating in our webinars, but also having grown in the last year, just gone. And I very much look forward to recognizing and congratulating everyone who succeeded very soon in the forthcoming webinars. And going forward, there is a change to our awards criteria for MAP as we move to a more task-driven system. Now that sounds difficult, but it's pretty easy, because what we'll do here is set specific membership-related tasks at each webinar. And the completion of those tasks will determine the level of the club award that the club achieves. Of course, as you'd expect, the club also needs to grow to receive one of these awards. Districts will be awarded in direct relationship to the level of participation of the clubs in their district, with top participating districts being eligible for gold awards. And there are also silver and bronze awards, of course. And to be perfectly frank, any of these awards is a wonderful achievement. And so we look forward to as many districts as possible going for those this coming year. And like with club awards, the district does need to grow and show a level of growth for the year to achieve the award. Simple, eh? And so many of you might be wondering what the first task is to get you onto the road to success, of course. Well, quite simply, it is for you to set a goal for your club in the Membership Success Center. And if you've already done that, then you're good to go. The task must be completed, however, by the end of September to count towards the award. So get into the Membership Success Center and quite simply set a goal. But whilst you're there, explore it a little, find out about those amazing resources, the success tracks and other things that can work for you and help you grow Rotary in your club. And I also want to give you a heads up on what the task will be for next month. And that is quite simply for you to have a club membership plan. Again, you already may have that plan and be working on it, but we will give you information on the next MAP webinar on how to confirm your plans being done. So you have time to get ahead of the game, in fact. And you can see a link to a one-page club membership plan template in the chat. This is a really simple plan to complete that relates to MAP's webinars and uses the resources that MAP's providing. It's designed on one page, so really isn't onerous in any way, shape, or form at all. But we've got to do it and follow it. So go to this link and download that plan. If you have any questions regarding the awards program, please put them into the chat box now. But take that first step towards growing membership in your club and having a greater impact in your community by completing the August MAP task, so you can get a head start even on the September one, as we said today. Now for a few up and coming webinars. Ask me anything. Well, don't ask me, at least ask the Zones 33 and 34 public image teams anything during their virtual live Q&A session with the aim of improving your public image efforts. This event will be held on Tuesday, August 22nd at 6 p.m. Eastern. No registration is required, and you can join this session from elevaterotary.org. We also invite you to attend a special polio event on Monday, August 28th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Eastern. Polio, of course, remains our #1 corporate priority, just as membership is our #1 organizational priority. And past Rotary International President and Chair of the Board of Trustees of the Rotary Foundation, John Germ, will be featured speaker. You can register for the link in this chat. And of course, our next Membership Action Plan webinar is on Monday, September the 11th at 6 p.m. Eastern. That evening, we will work on your club's key to irresistibility, unveiling the path to membership excellence and improving the membership experience of your members by shaping club culture. And you can sign up using the link in the chat or in the many other places on the website and Facebook page that you'll see it coming. And lastly, remember to kickstart your membership growth in this new Rotary year. Set your goals in the Membership Action Plan Membership Success Center. Attend the monthly Membership Action Plan webinars like this one, and thanks for being here today. Implement the attraction and engagement strategies to become simply irresistible. Let's make a bigger impact in your community and create an irresistible club for our members. Set your goals in the Rotary MAP Membership Success Center to take the first step. Thanks so much for being with us this evening. We appreciate you giving us your time. We hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. We look forward to seeing you next month on September 11th. Take care. Have a wonderful night and a great rest of the month. Good night.